Susan. Welcome to Tea and Games. It's been a while, hasn't it? I'm having a crazy hair day today, but I'm not going to let that stop me from making videos. And yes, I said videos plural because I've just had a lot of ideas for videos and I've kind of fallen behind in stuff that I want to do. So I'm going to try to record at least 2 today. So you will see this shirt and this mug of tea again, probably soon. The tea today is Peachy Tips Gold. And it's good and not too hot. Not yet cold though. I should do a side-by-side tasting of PG Tips and PG Tips Gold, but I've never done that. I always have either one or the other or neither. It's actually been a while since I just had the straight PG Tips, so that might be a project. Small, tasty project. So, what have we been playing? That's what this video is all about. And the next video is going to be a mid-year challenge video. I didn't want to do 2 challenges in a row. So let's start with June. We played a bunch of new to us stuff in June, and then we started playing new stuff in July. So in June, we played 20 different games. I'm looking at my BG Stats app. We played 20 different games, and that includes games on Board Game Arena. So it would be, I don't really only play a few games at a time on Board Game Arena, so it's going to be a bit less. Most played game in June was Space Base, followed by Carcassonne and Dominion 2nd Edition. We've got the Seaside and Prosperity expansions for Dominion, so we've been messing around with mixing those in various combinations or separately or anything, and that's been a lot of fun. They're both really good expansions. Prosperity has lots of money, as you might tell by the name Prosperity. Seaside, it introduces continuing effects, which is something that is used in other expansions further along. I think Seaside may have been the first or second expansion, something like that. We also played Martian Dice a fair amount, and I have news on the front of Mars attacking us. Yes, Martian Dice is being reprinted. Yes, I know. For a couple of years now, people have been saying Martian Dice is being reprinted. The designer wanted it to be reprinted. The designer has been in talks to have it reprinted, and it's been a thing that has been supposed to happen for a couple of years now. But now it looks like it really is actually going to happen. So soon you'll be able to put it on your table instead of just playing it on Board Game Arena. But they've got new artwork. As far as I know, there's no new mechanics or anything. It's just new artwork. It looks like it's going to be in a box this time rather than like a dice cup cylinder thing. Word has it, and it's up on the publisher's website. The new publisher is Calliope Games. And you can look on the Calliope Games website store, and it will show it as coming soon, out of stock. Supposedly, this is going to be a Gen Con release. So that means that the Martians may be released into the wild in the next month. So that could be fun. We are looking forward to that because we play it a lot on Board Game Arena, and it's a fun little dice game. That's all it is. It's not anything too heavy, but it has a high level of delight and fun for such a small, simple, inexpensive game. And that's what you want out of games in general. All kinds of games is a high level of delight and fun because games. We also played Mythwind, and I had not mentioned this to anybody. See, Mythwind, massive box. I didn't back Mythwind in the first campaign or the second campaign. But when it but it got here ahead of the tariffs this year, and I picked it up. I've been dithering about it because people either love this game or they hate it. And right now, actually, I may be one of the few people that neither love it nor hate it. It's just pleasant. It's not as compelling as I would like. I feel like, having played quite a few games with narrative aspects and story and stuff like that, I feel like that the narrative aspects and the story are really very weak. I feel like they needed to, if they really wanted to make it a narrative game, they needed to have gotten like a real writer to have written the story. And to have worked on the world creation and how that's going to fit into the story. But it plays nicely. It's just very pleasant. It's co-op. You're just sitting there. You're doing the thing. There are characters with asymmetrical actions. Everybody's doing something different, but they all contribute to the stuff that's on the town board. I feel like we've played through like a full year of all of the seasons and everything. We're still playing the same characters. You can swap out characters at the end of a season, but we haven't done that. I did like it enough, though, to get the big boxes, the Expanded Horizons expansion, after we had played through like the first year of it, because this adds the innkeeper and also a few more cards and bits and bobs. And so I thought, well, if this is a game that we're just going to play over a very long period of time, that it has almost infinite play, why not just throw in a little bit more variety? It comes with 4 characters. They each have different ways of being played. So they're all very different in terms of their actions. The one downside to this is I feel like that the rule book for Mythwind is not terribly clear. Let me see if I can find some place to put this. It's going to be out of the way here. Because the first couple of seasons that we played, we were doing it all wrong, based upon the rule book, and also based upon a whole bunch of YouTube videos by people who were doing it wrong. So, yeah, and it's because of the unclarity of certain aspects of the rule books, it is very, very easy to play your character wrong. The first couple of seasons, I was just miserable because it was incredibly grindy and very, very unrewarding and unsatisfying. And I didn't see how anybody could think that this was a pleasant, relaxed, chill game. But that's because I was doing everything wrong, because I was just going down the things in the rule book and following the videos who were also misinterpreting the rule book in the same way I was. And then I found some stuff about how you really should be playing these characters, and that all of the people that are doing this are not following, the rule book is not real clear. So there are multiple versions of Mythwind. And they have made some rules changes and some slight tweaks to things. And as I said, they're starting to add expansions now too. But I found a series of videos which is based upon the newest version of Mythwind, and it's got the newest rule book with some corrections, which I might add, I have the newest rule book and I still misinterpreted everything. So, well, not everything, but some important stuff. So what I'm going to do is this video was a publisher-sponsored series of videos for the latest version that was just done not that many months ago when it first, the last Kickstarter released. So I'm going to put a link to the first video, which is the one about how to play the town board and the town actions. And then there's a series of individual videos talking about each character and how to play the character actions, which is where you can really go wrong. And it also includes, there's a video for the innkeeper, which is in this. So no matter what you've got, you can find what the information that you need, and you can like go from the general how to play the town thing and navigate to the channel and find the other videos for all the other characters. For anybody that is curious about Mythwind or who is wondering if maybe they're doing the whole thing wrong, I need to find some place to put all this stuff. As you can tell, we've got the game topper still on the table, even though it is a weekday, and I've just got a panel slid down there for the camera. And, I said we're not going to leave this on the table all the time, and we don't. But some weekends we will leave the game topper on top of the dining room table in the hope of playing games in the evenings on the weekday. We were going to play some Monday night, but we ended up Zooming with our friends. And then Tuesday, we didn't take it off. And here it is Wednesday, and we've still got the game topper on there. And we're still hoping to play games in the evening. So we have been playing that. We are enjoying it. It's not a knock 'em out of the park hit, but it's good. It's okay. It's pleasant. It's a good way to while away some time. The most wonderful thing about it, I would have to say, is the storage system, which you've probably already heard of because it's got, I don't know if I can show you this very neatly here, but I'll give it a shot. You can see here sideways, it's got all of these different trays, and those are your player boards and your town board, and and all of the trays have these little inserts in there where you make the character actions and where you store all of your player pieces. So when you get ready to play, you just pop out the trays, take the lid off and go for the town board, and then put your player board on top and take the lid off and, slot in the skills that you had there, and you're ready to rock. It holds things more or less in place, and you can setup takes just literally a couple of minutes once you do the initial setup. So that's really very nifty, and then you just stack it all in here. There is a little bit of lid lift because pieces are stored in those bags, and once you start getting pieces into the bags, when you put stuff into the bottom section of the box, it doesn't quite lay flat, so I just went ahead and put the bags on the top. But yeah, the storage system is nifty, and if every campaign game had a storage system that saved your game like this one did and made setup and breakdown at the end of a play session as easy as this, we would play a lot of campaign games. As it is, campaign games still remain difficult to table because they're just such a pain in the neck to set up and take down after every session. Though I'm hoping that having a game topper, we can leave some set up for a while, though of course that means we can't use the nifty table for game days. We're still working that out. What else did we play? What turned out to be the surprise sleeper hit of June, and also I might add of July so far, is Taverns of Tiefenthal. We have been playing this a lot. It is a dice placement game, and I got it back in the fall, and I punched it and I bagged it, and we took the lid off and looked at all the bits. It's got a lot of bits because the player board is modular, and so you have to put your player board together when you lay it out, and then when you upgrade sections of the board, you just pop out that piece and flip it over, which is really neat. We just enjoy the heck out of this game. This is a solid game. It is a classic for a reason. It's not super heavy. I would say it's probably mid-weight. But yeah, it is a lot of fun. If you enjoy dice placement games, then this is one you should definitely take a look at and see if it's something that you would like. But we are enjoying playing this a huge amount. It plays well at 2 because everybody's doing stuff on their own player board and getting points. There isn't a huge amount of player interaction, so if you're looking for player interaction, this is not the game, but it's still very enjoyable. And we're probably, of the newer games we've gotten in the fall and early this year, this is the one that we're coming back to again and again and again and again. And I got the folded space insert, and I've now just realized, because I turned this up, I've just messed up everything, and there's probably bits that are rolling around in there, or sliding a bit, because this thing was just a hot mess. I mean, you just open it up and there's just baggies and bits and pieces, and it comes with 2 or 3 additional modules, which are like little things that you can change out to change gameplay up a little bit, which we haven't even done yet because we're still enjoying just the basic base game. So you got to sort out which bits and bobs are the stuff that you need just to play the base game. And so we got the folded space insert because we're going to be playing this a lot. We are already playing this a lot. And it's like, and now everything is in its own little slot. Or it was until I shook the box around a few minutes ago. So yeah, we played Taverns of Tiefenthal last month. We also got in another play of Above and Below. We hadn't played Above and Below. We like it a lot, but we haven't played it in a while. And because Above and Below Haunted was going to be shipping soon, and because play for Above and Below Haunted is very similar to Above and Below, but it consolidates and streamlines some things and adds some new stuff, but still, if you know how to play Above and Below, then learning this game that's a very easy lift. You just make a few modifications. It's like an alternate version. So we played Above and Below sort of as a refresher because we knew this was coming. And that was last month. I also played a couple of games on Board Game Arena that is worth mentioning. I mentioned in earlier videos that I had gotten Garden Canasta, which was a Kickstarter. And I thought, not knowing how to play Canasta, I should probably learn how to play Canasta and play it on BGA. So Jayne from Spiel Mill and I played Canasta, and then we played the variation Hand and Foot, which is a variation that's also included in Garden Canasta, and we did that on Board Game Arena. I didn't really click with Canasta, but part of it was, I don't know, I didn't really click with the interface for some reason. It didn't have a great feel to it. But when Jayne and I played Hand and Foot, that was a lot of fun. That interface, that's something to keep in mind. Even though Hand and Foot is an alternate version, a slight variation on Canasta, the interface for Hand and Foot on Board Game Arena is different and works differently than the Canasta interface. And the Canasta interface I didn't really like, and I can't remember now why, but it's not that it was bad, it just didn't really click with me for some reason. But Hand and Foot, I really like the interface on that, and I could see playing that again. Of course, also, Jayne and I had a lot of fun because at a certain point, we were both online together. So like the last half of the game, we played real time, just chatting in the text box, and that's always fun. We also got some old favorites to the table like Canopy and Cartographers and Rome, which is another Ryan Lockett game. And that was last month. And then early this month, Above and Below Haunted, like this past weekend, this is the Stretch Goals box because we got the deluxe edition on Kickstarter, no, GameFound, and it has the deluxeified versions in the Stretch Goals box. It's got metal coins and wooden pieces for some of the tokens, and it's got extra villagers and alternate starting cards and some building cards as well. The game is beautiful. I'm going to put a picture on the screen of what it looks like on the game topper with the Ryan Lockett mat. It kind of blends in. It's beautiful. But it does kind of blend in. It really looks like the game and the mat are just all inhabiting the same space. But it's very, very pretty. It's the things it streamlines from Above and Below is it combines the potions and the ciders. And so that's just one thing now. It's a Mystic Brew. They have boats which will allow you to refresh people mid-round or change your dice for exploration. Another thing that it's streamlined is in above and below, harvest and labor are two separate actions, and in this game it combines harvest and labor so that you would get a coin and be able to pick up a good off one of your cards as a single action, which I really like. And also if you use a builder villager, then you get to harvest two things. I don't think you get two coins, but I think you get to harvest two goods, which is really, that's very handy if you've got a lot of goods stacked up on cards, because that gets you points. This storybook for the explore action we were not crazy about, and admittedly this is based on one play, and I think we explored a total of 4 times between us. Each of us did 2 explore actions. We were successful all 4 times, but half of those times we got dinged with something bad happening even though we were successful. We picked up ghost or minus reputation or something like that even though we were successful, which we were not keen on. And because we felt like after we got to a certain point in the game, we felt like that the risk maybe wouldn't be worth the reward, because you just didn't know if you were successful, if you were going to get like a bunch of good stuff, or if you were going to get like 3 or 4 coins and then have bad stuff happen. So after a certain point, we were just going like, no, I don't want to explore, because the exploration just struck us as being more likely to be punishing than in above and below. But again, because there are like hundreds of scenarios in here, it could have just been our bad luck that half of them were bad, because that's half of 4, so that's a pretty small sample. But at the same time, we were just kind of going like, no, I don't want to take the risk. I'm doing really well right now. I don't want to explore and risk getting some kind of a setback on reputation or having more ghosts to manage. And about the ghost, I think the ghost situation could get pretty hairy in a 4-player game, but in a 2-player game, the whole ghost thing is really very manageable and not very punishing at all. Because when you use the banish ghost action, you banish all the ghosts, except one ghost goes to another opponent. So it's like, you just save a person aside, and they banish their ghost. It comes to you. Then you use your last person to banish the ghost. It goes back to them. They take a penalty at the end of the round. So it's kind of like managing your villagers and action things to see who can get that last banished ghost thing, as this lone ghost that's left bounces back and forth between the 2 players. And if you banish the ghost, you get... you actually get stuff for banishing ghosts. The banish ghost action has its own rewards. When you banish it and you put it on another player's card to haunt one of their houses, depending upon the type of card you put it on, it determines what sort of reward you get. You can get like boats in Mystic Brew, you can get coins and reputation, or a different set of coins, or fewer or more coins. So that's kind of interesting. So you actually get something for the banish ghost action. It isn't just really getting rid of something that will be a minus reputation at the end of the round. You get a reward for doing it. So yeah, with 2 players, the ghost goes back and forth, and you're just kind of trying to edge each other out. Now, Robert got a card toward the end of the game where he could get points for having ghosts, so he stopped banishing them. So he held on to the ghosts. So I no longer had to do my little villager, getting more villagers and hanging on to holding one back in case I needed to do a last minute banish before the round ended. So, I mean, the ghost thing is very manageable and not punishing at all, really, with 2 players. But I could see how it could get pretty hairy with more players, because you would have more players doing explore actions, and that's how you end up with ghost. So more players doing explore actions means there's potential for more ghosts coming onto the board, more people having ghosts, which means that there's going to be more ghosts being moved around and maybe even piled up on people when people banish the ghost from their own boards. So I think it will be a more significant factor in a game that's not a two-player game. It was kind of fun in a two-player game, but it could just become kind of hairy with more players. So that's something to keep in mind, because that is a little bit of a take that kind of mechanism, because when you banish your ghost, one of those ghosts goes to somebody else. And so if you don't want any take that or player interaction, you need to keep that in mind. But I am kind of wondering about the actions that are consolidated in this. Consolidating the potions and ciders into a mystic brew and consolidating the harvest labor actions. I'm wondering if we could house rule that a little bit into above and below, because I really like how that streamlines things. So that's something else that we're going to be looking at as we get more plays of above and below in and at haunted. And more plays of above and below regular in, because I think we're probably going to want to go back to the regular game after we get a few more plays of this in. And like I said, see if we can rejigger some things in the regular game to bring it more in line with the things we like in this game. So I don't know what I did with my phone and tea. So that is kind of what we've been doing here. Let me see if there is anything else. I mentioned the games that we have played the most in order: Space Base, Carcassonne, Dominion 2nd Edition, Martian Dice, Mythwind, Taverns of Tiefenthal. Playing Taverns of Tiefenthal a lot. We've played it a bunch since I did the things for June. But I think that has kind of caught y'all up with what we've been doing. And you may have noticed there's another box underneath here. That's one more thing that I wanted to mention, because I know some of the viewers are going to squee when they see this. We have not played this. We have not yet played this, but I found this at Half Price Books. Uwe Rosenberg's biggest game, like literally biggest game, and at Half Price Books for less than half price. So it was used. This wasn't one of those where somebody turned in a new game. It was used, but only one deck had been cracked open. The other two decks hadn't been cracked open yet. And there was like one score sheet used. So I think it may have only been played once. But A Feast for Odin is considered by a lot of people to be Uwe Rosenberg's masterpiece. Like, for a lot of people, this is their favorite game. This is the one they think is the best. For a lot of people, this is their top of their all-time best game list. So this is number one on a lot of lists. And it wasn't cheap, even at half price, but I felt like that it's nothing I'm ever going to play full price. I don't know, I can't see any circumstance where I would have another opportunity to play it. Being a big, long, heavy game doesn't seem to me like it would be a good fit for a game convention, because I would want to play more mid-length to shorter games than just one long, massive game. And maybe not the best environment for learning a game as complicated as this. Oh gosh, this has a lot of pieces. And a lot of action spots for your workers. If you like worker placement games and you want a lot of options, apparently this has a lot of options. So we are looking forward to learning this, but I don't think it's going to be anytime soon, because this is going to be not just a heavy lift in the game, but this is going to be a heavy lift learning. But yeah, I felt like this was probably, getting it for less than half price, this was probably going to be my best shot at playing the game and learning it. And see, for all I know, this may be like a game that we love. We don't tend to play very many big, long, heavy games. We tend to go mid-weight to light. But we do sometimes play and love heavier games. And so it will be interesting to see if this is one of those heavier games that we love. it's possible because we do like a lot of Uwe Rosenberg games. So I felt like I had to mention that because that's a big deal, getting A Feast for Odin. Even though we haven't yet played it, and I'm not sure when we'll play it, but yeah, it's a big thing. So that is something for you to look forward to up there in the future somewhere. But in the more immediate future, I'm going to do another challenge video. I've been tagged by 2 people, and I'm going to do a mid-year board game challenge next, and that's going to be the thing. So I'm sorry, you're going to have to deal with this t-shirt and crazy hair for one more video. But it has been fun just sitting around talking with y'all about games and stuff. Let me know what you think about what we've been playing and what we may be going to play. And I will put a link for the most recent How to Play video on Mythwind in the description if you are interested in that. I haven't seen too many videos on Above and Below Haunted, but like I said, if you know how to play Above and Below, this is a very easy learn. And it plays very well, very smoothly, and it's gorgeous. Just gorgeous. Taverns of Tiefenthal, dice placement, and beer. So yeah, we've had quite a bit of fun in the past month or so. And I will see y'all next time round the table. Bye.